me help you. Let's find out how that works. All right, this is your Elkton accident and injury attorney, Jobeth Bowers, coming at you from my Elkton office here, this sloppy little mess that I've got going on here, where we handle hundreds and hundreds of local auto accident cases each and every year. That's right. We are right here in Elkton, in Cecil County, here to serve you. Our office isn't just here. We're here. We're part of this community. We understand. We know these roadways. We drive these roadways. We are here all day, every day. And accidents happen. Nobody plans on these accidents. And, people call us. And over the years, I've been here in Elkton for 10 years. And, it's a little bit different than other places where I have done this, where people are really concerned about getting their bills paid. And that really brings into what today's topic is going to be about. I joked around. I used the Jerry Maguire lines, the show me the money that comes at the end. But the most important one is the help me help you. Lots and lots of information that we're going to need from you. It's not as simple as calling up and being like, hey, I was in an accident, get me paid. The communication that you have with us, the documents that we ask you for, the things that we need, we absolutely need. Sometimes we get these, we got to dig to find this stuff, but you, as our client, can make this a lot easier. All right, this is the help me help you part, okay? When you first contact our office and we decide to take on your case, as we've discussed in past episodes, you don't pay us any money up front. We are working for free until the very end of this case for you. We need your help in some ways. There are certain things that we just don't have the ability to read minds on, like legitimately. And a lot of that is medical care. Some of it is documentation. Some of it is information about your health insurance, because at the end of the day, at the end of this process, our job is to get everything paid for and compensate you with as much money coming to you as absolutely possible in your pocket for having to deal with this whole mess. And there are ways in which you can help us make that easier, many of which we've talked about in previous episodes of the podcast. We'll link those below. Okay, we talked about using your health insurance to pay for medical care. Well, a lot of times these providers don't want to do that. We can force their hand and make them do that. But one of the things that we often ask our clients for, we need your health insurance card. Now, if you come into the office, you do your initial intake here, we collect all of these documents, but sometimes you don't have it with you. So if you're watching this video before coming to see us, before talking to us about an accident, now you know, bring your health insurance card. We're going to get a copy of the front and back of that. It gives us the ability to make sure that each and every medical provider has that health insurance information and can run your health insurance. At the end of the process, when we get to the show me the money part, it's going to put more money in your pocket, okay? It's also going to get those bills paid sooner. That way you don't get sent to collections. If you do get sent to collections, if somebody didn't bill properly, there's another video, another episode where we talked about how to take care of those bad bills for you. It happens. Sometimes these things slip through the cracks. Sometimes I have had providers confirm for me that the balance was paid in full at the end of the case. And then 6-8 months later, somebody screwed something up, sent out a bill. We came down hard on them, got our client paid 2 more times for having to deal with that. That link will be below as well. The biggest, most important thing that we need to know, the biggest piece of communication that makes these things move as smoothly as possible, is our office being fully aware of all medical care that you receive related to the accident. Now, if you get the flu and you go to an urgent care or go to your primary care doctor and it happens to overlap with your accident treatment, we don't necessarily need to know about that. If it has nothing to do with the accident, it's not something that we need to track down and collect. But if you get referred to a specialist, if you get referred for a CT or an MRI, which happens in a very substantial number of the cases that we handle, there is not some automatic way, there is not some like universal portal. Maybe there will be one day, but as of August of 2024, when I'm streaming this podcast episode, there is not one universal portal where I can log in, put your information in, and just get a list of all medical care. And then I go through and say, okay, that's probably related. That's probably related. We'll skip that one. It's definitely not related. And then request those medical records. It doesn't work that way. We have to know I went to this facility on this day and I got this procedure or saw this doctor, because we have to reach out to them or their billing office directly to request those documents. A lot of times, medical providers, therapy providers, individuals like that don't send us medical bills and records piece by piece. They wait till you're finished treating and they send it to us all at once. As we're reviewing that, the number of times that we realize that our client got referred out to a specialist or referred for an MRI by reading it in the medical records it's too much. It's definitely too much. Now, obviously we read that, we pick up on that, we're able to request that, but it takes extra time. A lot of times those MRIs happen midway through the process. If we know about that procedure around the time that it's happening, it gives us the ability to request those records shortly after the procedure happened. Because at the end, when you are finally feeling better, when you are feeling as close as you're going to get to before that accident happened, we get all of this documentation, all of the bills, all of the records, all of the photographs, everything related to any sort of loss of earnings or wage loss. All of that gets packaged up, gets summarized, gets sent to the insurance company for the at-fault driver all at once, which initiates the settlement process. It's kind of like packing up a circus on the East Coast into a bunch of different trains and taking it to the West Coast. If all of those trains don't show up at the same time, the circus can't start. So if we find out at the very end, on a day or day before, we should be sending everything out to the insurance company that, oh, my client got an MRI, or, oh, my client went to see this doctor, I now need to request those records. You're looking at 2, 3, 4 weeks sometimes until those records get to our office and we're able to move forward and finally put everything together. It is incredibly difficult to learn about this stuff after the fact. And sometimes the records of those doctors aren't that great. Sometimes we can only find out about going to another doctor or an urgent care or something else, getting an MRI. Those things sometimes don't show up. They usually do, but every so often they don't show up in the main treating doctor's records, which makes it impossible for us to know about, which means multiple things. Number one, circling back to that show me the money, if I don't have all the bills and records, I'm not going to get your case settled for as much money as I should. And when we settle these cases, they are done. There is no going back to the well. There is no, oh, hey, there was extra treatment. Part of the process in our office when we're packaging everything up and sending it to the insurance company is to send our client an itemization of those medical bills and those records and all of that treatment. It's kind of a double check so that you can be like, oh, wait, I also went here and that's missing. Let us know before we get too far down the rabbit hole, before the insurance company begins to evaluate, before the insurance company makes us an offer. It's not perfect, but that's what it's designed for. It's much better if we know about it as it's happening. Because again, if you get that letter and we've already sent everything to the insurance company and you're like, oh, wait, my MRI is missing, we've got to hit the brakes. We've got to let the insurance company know, hey, hold on, there's more coming. We didn't send you everything. Then we have to request it and wait weeks. Sometimes it takes 3 weeks, 4 weeks to get these medical records. It shouldn't. Most of this is electronic, but a lot of times it does. And that delays our ability to move your case forward. So it's super important. Again, help me help you. The health insurance card, information from the police report, all of that stuff that we ask for at the beginning of the case, photos of the damage to the vehicle, position of the vehicles, all the stuff that we tell you to get if you're watching any of these other videos, super, super important, because it's what helps us put everything together and move things forward at a time frame that makes sense for you. We don't sit around and delay these things because, as I've already mentioned, we don't get paid until you get paid. So help me help you. Help me show you the money, because that's what we need. All of that communication, super, super important, and makes these things flow really, really well and allows us to do absolutely the best job for you. Additionally, not only if you don't tell us about medical care related to the accident and we settle this case, are you not getting what your case is worth, but you might be hanging a medical bill out there. There might be an outstanding balance because not all of these companies send you a bill right away. Not all of these companies are equal, especially when they outsource stuff. It doesn't go as smoothly. It's not like going to the grocery store and running your groceries across the conveyor belt and the little beep, 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 and then all of a sudden there's a total sitting there. It takes a little bit longer. They process this stuff. Sometimes they send it to your health insurance. Also, there are deadlines. Different insurance companies, health insurance companies, have different time frames to which you can submit their bills and they'll actually pay them. If something goes too long and we didn't have the ability to put the full court press on and make sure that medical provider bills the health insurance, you may end up with less money in your pocket because they did not know about the health insurance and therefore they didn't bill it. We love to push the issue because at the end of the day, it allows us to show you the money. It allows us to put a bigger check in your pocket at the end of the case, which ultimately is the goal. Get it all paid for, get you compensated for having to deal with it. Help me, help you. Let me show you the money. This is Attorney Bowers, your accident and injury guy right here in Elkton, Maryland, coming at you with these tips. Make sure you subscribe to this podcast. We do it every week, 10 a.m., every Monday. Lots and lots of valuable information. Like it, share it, tell a friend, because this is super important stuff, and we want to make sure that you get taken care of. So until next week, be well and be